We're going on an adventure, everybody! Hello, beautiful bookworms! My name is Katarina and welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing something that I wanted to have done sooner, but sadly I only finished this book last night, so I can only film this now. And I am so happy to tell you that I'm going to be bringing you a review for The Hobbit by Jrr Tolkien, and I finally read this book and I am so happy that I did because this book is now one of my favorite books of all time. Firstly, I just have to say that I was waiting for something that it was really descriptive and really, written in a very ancient and probably not as likable way as I would hope to be. But I was actually wrong. I don't know about The Lord of the Rings because I haven't read it yet. But The Hobbit is not that descriptive, actually. And Tolkien does something that is really interesting, that it is, he just writes a journey. The beginning of a journey, the middle of a journey, and the end of a journey. And one thing that he does, because he's the narrator of the story, he just tells you, like, this part is not really that important throughout the entire story. So I'm just going to tell you that this went well and the characters did this and that, and moving forward to the actual important part of the story. And I actually laugh a little bit because I wasn't expecting Tolkien to be like that, to be like, okay, people, I don't care about this part, just move forward because the interesting parts will be right there in the end of the book, so move forward with that. And it was really funny, and it wasn't overwhelmingly descriptive. There were some parts that describe some stuff, but I was actually expecting more descriptions, and in some parts I would really like to see more descriptions of stuff and characters, but I really did enjoy it as it was. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot because this is a spoiler-free review, and then I'm going to talk to you about my overall emotions while reading this book. So for the basic plot of this book, this is the story of a hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, and for those of you who don't know what a hobbit is, it's just a little small creature that likes to live inside of holes, and that basically has like this furry feet that allow him to go just barefoot wherever he wants to go. And he's basically just a little peaceful creature that just likes to smoke his pipe and take second breakfasts and just enjoy his hole. And for some reason, he meets with a wizard named Gandalf, and he basically invites him to join an adventure. And how he invites him is that he leads like 12 dwarfs, I believe, into his doorstep, and they just eat all of his food, and they tell him, we need a robber, and you're going to be our robber because we have this gold, and this gold belongs to our fathers and parents and whatever, and all of the kings of the dwarfs, and that gold is inside this mountain, and there's a dragon in that mountain, and he stole our gold, and we want to get the gold back from him. So you're going to be our robber. And this is how the story begins, so I'm not spoiling anything for you. This is in the first chapter of the book, and basically he gets really scared, but at the same time he goes on an adventure, which is so not like him, and he's 50 years old, which for hobbits, it's not a big deal because they live until 100 and stuff. I mean, I do believe that in The Lord of the Rings, Bilbo is actually making his 111th birthday? I believe so. But yeah, so for them it's nothing, it's half of their lives. But for me it was like, I had no idea he was 50. How in the world was he 50? But yeah, he's 50 and he goes on an adventure and he hates it, but at the same time he loves it, and we love it as well because he is just such a cool character and this is such a cool book. So obviously Bilbo is our main character, but the dwarfs are actually side main characters, which means they are important and they are described and all of their wants and needs are addressed, but they are not as main as Bilbo. And obviously Gandalf is kind of a side character that is only there to just save them when stuff goes wrong, something kind of the way. But I really enjoy this. This was a little bit more middle grayish than I was expecting, not in a writing style way, because I do believe this could be read by anyone and still be enjoyed, but in a way that it wasn't overwhelming with the descriptions or with writing styles very, marked punctuation different or something like that. It was very easy to read in a way, and it is very short as well. This edition only has 256 pages, I believe, and it's full of illustrations. Let me see if I can show you. Can you see it? It's really beautiful, really beautiful. It's full of illustrations, and it's full of chapter breaks, and the chapters are small, so it was really easy to read, and I really did enjoy this part of the story. So now for what I felt about the story. I don't want to talk more about this because I am afraid that I will spoil the only person that hasn't read this in the world, which used to be me, but now there's probably more people that haven't read this, because I already have, if you know what I mean. So first of all, what I wanted to address is that I don't really know how it was possible to make 3 movies so big out of this book, because it's really weird. There were parts that were completely invented by the filmmaker to do this, because this is basically something that progresses in a way that we have this objective, we have this goal. So we're just gonna go straight forward, and there's going to be adventures in the middle of the thing, and then it's going to be a very gigantic ending, but this is a very normal progression of a story. We don't have things, we have things that delay us, but we don't have things that don't have absolutely anything to do with the story that happened. And that happens in the movies, and I do love the movies, and I want to go back and see them now that I've read The Hobbit, but I don't know if I will like them as much, because now that I've read it, it seems so overly complicated what they did with the movies, and this book is just so fairly simple to read and to enjoy. But putting that aside, one of the things that I felt about this book is that it shows you that heroes are not actually that different of a person, and I'm going to explain this. I'm going to try and put my thoughts together and do this in an fashionably order, but what I mean by this is that you start with a character that it's a little bit fairly grumpy in a way and just wants their peace and quiet and doesn't know what an adventure is, and throughout the entire journey you see that character grow, you see her becoming more brave, you see him just making the right choices, not for himself but for his friends. And I think that the message that this book brings to us, and I don't really believe that it was Tolkien's intention to just lecture everybody on morality and stuff like that, but what I kind of learned with this book is that you shouldn't be greedy, you should just enjoy what you have, you should just try different stuff, you should do right for your friends and by your friends, and then you should go home and enjoy what you have and just remember fondly what you went through and just grow with it and just transform yourself with it. And I think that that was fairly important for me. It actually made me feel a little bit, nostalgic in a way, because I identify myself a lot with Bilbo. He just wants his peace of mind, he just wants to be quiet, but at the same time, he really wants to live an adventure, and when he starts to make friends with the dwarves, he just wants to protect them and to be their friend. And even when stuff starts getting a little bit difficult to be their friend, he still does the right by them. And I think that that's really important, and I think that that's probably why people say that this is a more middle grayish story, because it kind of appears to have this lesson embroidered into it, you know what I mean? I don't know, I think this is a good lesson for anyone in every age to learn, if it is a lesson. It's just something that I got out of the book. I don't mean it to be a morality or a lesson to anyone, but I really did enjoy this, and I felt like I would like to do a journey like this, to grow up like this. I think this represents people growing up. I think this represents letting go of things that don't matter. Stop being greedy. Stop with the things that you don't actually need, and just be there for the people that need you, and then leave when you have finished what you have to do. And just go and enjoy your peace and quiet and just grow a little bit with what you lived. And that for me is really important. And I have to say that Bilbo Baggins is kind of my favorite Hobbit right now. And is a little bit of an idol for me right now. I identify a lot with him, and I would like to be like him and to live an adventure like him. So I learned a bit with this book, and I really enjoyed it. This was a beautiful journey for the main character, for the side characters, and for the reader. And possibly for the author as well. So I'm really happy that I read this, and I do recommend this if you, for some reason, were like me and haven't read it. Read it. It's easy, you won't be disappointed, and it's a good journey to go on and just look back and feel nostalgic about. So that is all for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like it, leave a like or subscribe, and tell me in the comments down below if you've read The Hobbit, what you think of it, and if you like it, if you don't, and why, and if you want to discuss a little bit more about it, because this is spoiler free, so I can't discuss a little more of the plot with you. But yeah, guys, that is all for today, and happy readings to you all. Bye!